Deho stepped forward, facing the being of light. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. We choose the second path. Teach us gradually. We'll take the risk of not being ready over the certainty of losing ourselves or abandoning everyone else. Aaron's light flickered with what might have been approval. You have chosen wisdom over power. This is good. But I offer one modification to your choice. What modification? Minji asked. You said to teach you. But I suggest we teach everyone, Aaron explained. Not just humans. Any civilization that wishes to learn, any species that wants to unlock their own potential. The primordials seeded life throughout this galaxy. Many species carry dormant gifts in their genes, just as you do. They simply need guidance to awaken them. Deho understood immediately. You want us to unite the galaxy by helping them, not by standing above them. Exactly, Aaron said. A leader who stands apart is a tyrant. A leader who stands alongside is family. You will need family in the darkness ahead. How do we begin? Jiwon asked. Come inside. Aaron gestured toward the crystalline city. See what you will inherit. Then decide how to share it with the galaxy. They entered the primordial city of Velshara. Inside defied all logic and physics. Rooms existed in multiple places at once. Time flowed differently in various sections. They walked through a garden where plants grew that couldn't exist in normal space, producing fruits of pure thought and flowers made of frozen time. Aaron led them to a chamber at the city's heart. 12 pillars stood in a circle, each containing a sleeping figure. The primordials, the last survivors of the oldest civilization. They looked peaceful, but Deho could sense their exhaustion. They had fought for so long, endured so much. Now they rested, waiting for their children to be ready. They sleep, Aaron said quietly. When the darkness comes, they will wake one final time. They will give everything they have left to buy you time. But after that, they will be gone. The last of the primordials will pass into history. Suji wiped tears from her eyes. They're dying so we can live. They are passing the torch, Aaron corrected gently. Every parent hopes their children will surpass them. The primordials succeeded beyond all expectation. Humanity is capable of things even they could not achieve. Like what? Taeyong asked. Like unity, Aaron said simply. The primordials were powerful, but they were one species, one way of thinking. Humanity has the gift of bringing together different viewpoints. You understand diversity in a way they never could. This will be crucial when facing the entropy beings. Aaron led them deeper into the city. They saw libraries containing knowledge from 1 billion years of civilization. Workshops where reality could be shaped like clay. Training rooms where consciousness could expand beyond normal limits. The first teachers must be human, Aaron explained. 200,000 of you will undergo the awakening over the next year. You will learn to access the primordial technology encoded in your genes. Then you will teach others, humans and aliens alike. How do we choose who gets awakened first? Deho asked. We don't, Aaron replied. They will choose themselves. The process requires willingness. Those who deeply desire to grow, to learn, to protect others, they will be drawn here. The city is now open. Humans will begin arriving within hours, and they did. By the thousands, then millions. People from every continent felt a pull toward the 12 primordial cities that had risen from their hiding places. Scientists and soldiers, teachers and doctors, artists and engineers, young and old. Anyone who heard the call and chose to answer. The awakening process was different for each person. Some experienced it as a gentle unfolding of new senses. Others felt like they were being rebuilt from the ground up. But all emerged changed. Their eyes held new depth. Their movements carried new grace. They could perceive things others couldn't, understand concepts that had seemed impossible before. Minji was among the first to undergo awakening. When she emerged from the chamber, she could see the quantum foam underlying reality. She could sense the emotional states of everyone around her. Most amazingly, she could temporarily link her mind with others, sharing thoughts and feelings directly. It's incredible, she told Deho afterward, but also terrifying. I can feel how fragile everything is. Reality is thinner than we thought. The entropy beings will tear through it like paper. Jiwon's awakening gave her different gifts. She could process tactical information at superhuman speeds, coordinate thousands of people simultaneously through mental links. Most importantly, she could sense danger before it manifested, giving her crucial seconds of warning in any threat. Within 6 months, Earth had 200,000 awakened humans. They became teachers, traveling to other worlds to share what they had learned. The Galactic Council, initially terrified by these developments, slowly came to accept them, especially after awakened humans helped 3 different civilizations solve problems that had plagued them for centuries. The Vixtar were the hardest to convince. Elder Thane finally agreed to meet with Deho on Earth, something no Vixtar had done in millions of years. "I am old," Thane said, his ancient form flickering with uncertainty. "I remember when the primordials first retreated to this world. I was young then, barely 3 million years into my life. My people have feared this planet ever since." "You don't have to fear us," Deho assured him. "We're not the primordials. We're their children, yes, but children grow up to be different from their parents." "That is what I fear," Thane admitted. "The primordials were stable, predictable. You are neither. You changed so quickly. In just 50 years, you've gone from primitive planet-bound creatures to galactic ambassadors. What will you become in 15 years? In 100? In 1,000? I don't know," Deho said honestly. "But I know we'll face it together. Not as master and servant. Not as parent and child. As equals." Thane was silent for a long moment. Then he made a decision that shocked the galaxy. "The Vixtar will join your Grand Academy. We will learn from you. And perhaps after 800 million years of stability, it is time for us to change as well." Other civilizations followed. By the end of the first year, 5 million beings from 8,000 different species had undergone some form of awakening. Not all gained the same abilities. Each species unlocked gifts unique to their genetic legacy, but all gained the ability to link consciousness, to share experiences, to truly understand each other. Earth transformed. The 12 primordial cities became centers of learning. Aliens walked alongside humans in massive academies where reality itself was the classroom. Ships from 1,000 worlds filled Earth's orbit, bringing students and teachers. But not everyone approved. The Krell Imperium, a powerful civilization of conquerors, refused to participate. Their Emperor Mordax believed the awakening was a trap, that humans were manipulating everyone into serving them. "They teach you to be weak," Mordax broadcast to any who would listen. "They teach you to feel, to empathize, to unite. These are chains disguised as gifts. Power comes from strength, not from unity." 2,000 civilizations agreed with him. They formed a resistance, actively working to undermine the Grand Academy. Sabotage became common. Ships were destroyed. Teachers were attacked. The galaxy that should have been uniting was instead dividing. Deho spent months trying to negotiate with Mordax. Finally, the Krell Emperor agreed to one face-to-face meeting on his homeworld. Deho brought Aaron with him, hoping the primordial's presence would lend weight to his words. Mordax's throne room was designed to intimidate. Weapons lined the walls. Skulls of conquered species decorated the ceiling. The Emperor himself was massive, easily 3 meters tall, with armor that seemed to be part of his body. "You come to convince me to join your academy," Mordax growled. "You waste your time, human. The Krell have conquered 300 worlds through strength alone. We need no teacher." "You misunderstand," Deho replied calmly. "I'm not here to teach you. I'm here to learn from you." That caught Mordax off guard. "Learn what?" "How to fight," Deho said simply. "The Krell are the greatest warriors in the galaxy. When the entropy beings come, we'll need that knowledge. Your strength combined with our unity could save everyone, including the Krell. And if I refuse?" Deho took a breath and made a choice he hoped wouldn't backfire. Through the mental link all awakened beings shared, he transmitted a memory, not his own. A collective memory from the shared vision all humanity had experienced. The moment when the primordials faced total defeat. The moment when they realized they had lost everything. Then he shared another memory. Humanity's response to that knowledge, not fear, not despair. Hope. Determination. The absolute refusal to give up even when victory seemed impossible. Mordax staggered under the weight of emotions his species had been taught to suppress. For the first time in his long life, the Emperor felt hope. And it terrified him. "This is why you're dangerous," Mordax whispered. "You make us feel things we spent millennia learning to ignore. You make us care." "Yes," Deho admitted. "Is that so terrible?" Mordax was silent for a long time. Then slowly the massive Emperor knelt. "The Krell will join your academy. Teach my people to care. Then we will teach you to fight. Together perhaps we have a chance." Word spread quickly. If the proud Krell had bent knee to the human's vision, others would follow. Within weeks, the resistance crumbled. The visions came again, but this time they were stronger, more detailed. and they came to all of humanity at once. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Every human being on Earth, in space stations, on Mars colonies, everywhere humans existed, stopped what they were doing and saw the same images. Factory workers froze at their stations. Pilots let their autopilots take control. Children stopped playing in schoolyards. For exactly 17 minutes, 8 billion humans experienced a shared vision of the past. They saw the universe when it was young. Galaxies were just forming. Stars were being born in massive nurseries of gas and dust. And among all this chaos, the first civilization emerged. The primordials, as they called themselves, evolved on a planet that no longer existed in a galaxy that had long since merged with others. The primordials didn't just develop technology. They became technology. They learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality: space, time, gravity, consciousness itself. They could create pocket universes. They could design the laws of physics for entire regions of space. They could move galaxies like chess pieces. For billions of years, they were alone in the universe. So they began to create. They seeded millions of planets with the building blocks of life. They designed the conditions for complexity to emerge. They became gardeners of cosmic evolution. Then something came. Something from beyond the edge of the observable universe. Something older than the universe itself, perhaps surviving from whatever existed before the Big Bang. The visions showed humanity creatures that hurt to perceive, beings of pure entropy, living embodiments of decay and darkness. They didn't want to conquer or consume in any normal sense. They wanted to end everything, to return all complexity to simplicity, all order to chaos, all existence to void. The war that followed lasted millions of years. Entire galaxies were destroyed in the conflict. Stars were snuffed out. Planets were torn apart. The primordials fought with weapons that could reshape reality, but the entropy beings were relentless. For everyone destroyed, two more emerged from the darkness beyond. Finally, the primordials won, but the cost was catastrophic. Of their trillions, only 12,000 survived. They were exhausted. Their power was nearly spent. They retreated to a small, carefully designed planet in a young galaxy. A planet they had prepared long ago as a seed vault for their experiments in consciousness. They retreated to Earth. The vision showed the surviving primordials descending into Earth's oceans, burrowing deep into its mountains and creating spaces between dimensions where they could rest and heal. But they knew something important. They were dying. Their species was finished. The war had taken too much from them, so they made a decision. They would create successors. The vision showed the primordials working for millions of years. They didn't just guide evolution randomly. They carefully engineered each step. They eliminated dead-end branches of life. They encouraged promising developments. They protected early humans from extinction events that would have destroyed them, and they built specific traits into human DNA, traits that no other known species possessed in combination. The first trait was curiosity stronger than fear. Humans would investigate the unknown even when it was dangerous. They would never stop asking questions. The second trait was adaptability. Humans could learn to survive in almost any environment. Physical, mental, social. They could change faster than any other species. The third trait was emotional complexity. Humans didn't just think logically. They felt deeply. They could love, hate, hope, and fear with an intensity that allowed them to understand other conscious beings at a profound level. The fourth trait was pattern recognition. Human brains were wired to see connections that others missed, to find meaning in chaos, to solve problems by seeing the bigger picture. But the most important trait was unity despite diversity. Humans could fight each other bitterly, but they could also come together when faced with a common threat. They could unite across vast differences when it mattered. The vision showed why these traits mattered. Because the entropy beings weren't gone. They had retreated, yes, but they were still out there in the darkness beyond the galaxy. And they were coming back. The primordials had detected their return 50 years ago. It was why they had allowed humanity to achieve faster-than-light travel. Why they had permitted contact with the Galactic Council. Why they were finally revealing themselves after millions of years of hiding. Humanity needed to be ready. The galaxy needed to be united. Because when the entropy beings returned, the exhausted primordials would not be able to fight. Their power was spent. Their time was done. The defense of reality would fall to their children. To humanity, The vision ended and 8 billion humans gasped for air as they returned to normal consciousness. The world erupted in chaos. Governments scrambled to respond. Religious leaders struggled to interpret what had happened. Scientists tried to make sense of impossible information, and ordinary people simply tried to cope with the knowledge that everything they thought they knew about human origins was wrong. Daeho and his team found themselves standing on a beach. They hadn't walked there. They hadn't taken a vehicle. One moment they were in their research facility, and the next moment they were on the shore of the Pacific Ocean. Before them, the water began to glow. A structure rose from the depths, massive and beautiful. It looked like a city made of light and crystal and materials that shouldn't exist. Water cascaded off its sides as it breached the surface. A figure stood at the entrance to the structure. It was humanoid in shape but made of pure light. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just in their ears but in their minds and hearts. "I am Keeper Aaron," it said, "one of the 12 who remain. You have seen the truth. You know what you are. Now you must decide what you will become." Minji found her voice first. "Why us? Why humanity? Why not one of the older galactic civilizations?" "Because they are complete," Aaron replied. "The Vixtar have spent 800 million years perfecting their civilization. They are stable, unchanging, perfect in their own way. But perfection cannot adapt. Perfection cannot grow. You are imperfect, and that is your strength." "We're supposed to fight these entropy things?" Jiwon asked. "We barely have faster-than-light travel. How can we possibly defend against beings that nearly destroyed the primordials?" "You have 15 years to prepare," Aaron said. "We will help you unlock what we built into you. But there is a choice you must make," the Keeper gestured. And 3 pathways appeared in the air before them, each glowing with different colored light. "The first path, we activate your genetic legacy immediately. Every human will gain access to primordial technology and abilities overnight. You will become powerful beyond imagination, but such sudden change causes madness. 94 out of every 100 humans will lose themselves. Their minds will break under the weight of too much power, too fast." The first pathway glowed red with danger. "The second path, we teach you gradually over the next 15 years. You will grow into your power slowly. You will have time to develop wisdom alongside strength. But this is risky. You may not be ready when the darkness comes. Many of you will die." The second pathway glowed yellow with caution. "The third path, we use our remaining power to save as many humans as possible. We create pocket universes where you can hide. Your species will survive, but Earth will be abandoned. The galaxy will fall. Every other civilization will perish." The third pathway glowed blue with sadness. "You must choose," Aaron said, "not just for humanity but for the entire galaxy. Because if you accept your inheritance, other species will follow your lead. You will become the center of the galactic defense. You will unite 10,000 civilizations. Or you will flee and all will be lost." Daeho looked at his team. At Minji, brilliant and curious. At Jiwon, brave and practical. At Suji, who had dared to touch the unknown. At Taeyong and Bora, who had questioned reality itself. He thought about humanity. Flawed, violent, divided, but also capable of incredible kindness. Able to learn from mistakes, able to hope against all odds, he made his choice. The journey back to Earth took 6 weeks. During that time, Daeho, Minji, and Jiwon prepared themselves for what they might find. They assembled a team of Earth's best scientists, though they couldn't tell anyone the real reason for the investigation. Dr. Suji Han was the first person they contacted. She was a marine biologist who had spent 15 years studying the deepest parts of Earth's oceans. She had seen things down there that didn't make sense. Strange readings, unusual formations, but every time she reported them, the data would mysteriously disappear from her systems. "I've always known something was wrong," Suji told them during the flight back. "The ocean doesn't behave the way it should in certain areas. Currents that defy physics, temperatures that fluctuate impossibly. And sometimes when I'm deep underwater, I feel like something is watching me." Professor Taeyong-an was next. He was a geophysicist who studied earthquakes and underground formations. Like Suji, he had found anomalies that never appeared in official records. "There are tunnels beneath the continents," Taeyong explained, showing them old scans on his data pad. "Natural caves don't form these patterns. They're too precise, too deliberate. But every time I try to explore them, equipment fails. Drones lose power. Communication cuts out." Dr. Borishin completed their team. She was a quantum physicist who studied the fundamental nature of reality. Her research had led her to disturbing conclusions. Quantum mechanics says reality is probabilistic, Bora said during a late-night meeting on the ship. Particles exist in multiple states until observed. But on Earth I've measured something strange. Sometimes the probabilities aren't random. It's as if something is choosing which quantum state becomes real. Choosing? Minji asked. You mean consciously? I mean intelligently, Bora corrected. Whatever is doing it understands quantum mechanics better than we do. It's editing reality at the most fundamental level possible. When they finally arrived at Earth, the planet looked exactly as Daeho remembered. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents, home. But now he looked at it differently. Somewhere down there, hidden beneath nature's beauty, existed beings older than human comprehension. They started their investigation in the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's ocean. Tsuji piloted a specialized submersible while the others monitored from a research ship above. The descent took hours. Light faded quickly. At 3,000 meters, darkness became absolute. The submersible's lights showed nothing but empty water and occasional fish. At 7,000 meters, Tsuji's voice came through the radio, tense and excited. I'm picking up something. The sonar shows a structure ahead, but it keeps disappearing from the scans. Can you describe it? Daeho asked. It's massive, easily the size of a city. The walls appear to be made of some material that absorbs our scanning signals. Wait, I'm detecting something else. There's a localized gravity field around the structure. That shouldn't be possible at this depth. The submersible moved closer. Through the external cameras, they caught glimpses of smooth surfaces covered in patterns that hurt to look at. The patterns seemed to shift and change, as if they existed in more dimensions than human eyes could process. I'm going to collect a sample, Tsuji said. Negative, Jiwan ordered immediately. Do not touch anything. Just observe, but it was too late. Tsuji had already extended the submersible's collection arm toward the structure. The moment it made contact, every screen on the research ship went white. When their vision cleared, a message appeared on every display in the same language. Perfect Korean, perfect English, perfect Japanese. Every language humanity had ever spoken. The message was simple. We hear you, children. We have always heard you. Then it changed. You are not ready for what you ask. The submersible's cameras went dark. Radio communication died. For 5 terrifying minutes they had no contact with Tsuji. Then just as suddenly everything came back online. Tsuji's voice crackled through, shaken but alive. I'm okay, but you need to see this. The camera showed something impossible. The massive structure had moved. In the 5 minutes of radio silence, it had risen from 15 kilometers below the ocean floor to just a few hundred meters from the submersible, and it had opened. Doorways now existed where solid walls had been before. Light spilled out from inside, a color that didn't exist in the normal spectrum. The submersible's sensors couldn't classify it. Bring her up, Daeho ordered. Now. As Tsuji ascended, their research ship's sensors detected something terrifying. 3 alien vessels that had been secretly following them, hiding in orbit around the moon, suddenly vanished. Not destroyed, not jumped to faster than light speed, simply ceased to exist as if they had been erased from reality. When Tsuji surfaced and climbed aboard the research ship, she was pale and shaking. Something spoke to me down there. Not through the radio. Directly into my mind. It showed me things. What things? Minji asked gently. Cities, Tsuji whispered. Underwater cities filled with beings made of light and crystal and things I don't have words for. And forests. Not Earth forests. Forests that exist in spaces between spaces. And underground there are networks that connect everything. The entire planet is connected. It's all one system. That night, something impossible happened. All 5 members of the research team had the same dream simultaneously. They saw Earth as it had been millions of years ago before humans existed. Vast civilizations covered the planet, but not on the surface, beneath the oceans, inside the mountains, in pocket dimensions that touched reality only lightly. In the dream, they witnessed a war. Beings of pure energy fought against creatures of living darkness. The battle reshaped continents and boiled oceans. When it ended, the beings of light had won, but barely. They were exhausted, dying. They retreated into the deep places of Earth to rest and heal. Before they slept, they did something remarkable. They planted seeds, genetic seeds that would grow and evolve and eventually become humanity. You carry our legacy, a voice said in the dream. You are our children, though you do not remember us. We have watched you grow. We have protected you. We have guided your evolution, and now you have grown enough to learn the truth. The dream ended with a warning. Something is coming. Something old and terrible. Something we fought and barely defeated billions of years ago. It returns and we are too weak to fight again. This is why we made you. This is your purpose. You must be ready. When they all woke at the same moment, gasping for air, they knew it hadn't been just a dream. It had been a message, an explanation, and a plea for help. Deho looked at his team members, all of them frightened and amazed. We need to tell Earth Command. We need to tell the world. No, Minji said quietly. We need to learn more first. If the Watchers chose to contact us, there must be a reason. They want us to find something. G1 nodded slowly. The Amazon. Taeyong mentioned tunnels there. And Antarctica. We need to investigate every location where anomalies have been reported. Over the next month, they did exactly that. In the Amazon rainforest, they found entrances to underground networks that stretched for thousands of kilometers. The walls were made of material that was neither metal nor stone, warm to the touch despite being buried for millions of years. In Antarctica, deep ice cores revealed technological artifacts sealed in 15-million-year-old ice, devices that still functioned when exposed to air, machines whose purpose they couldn't begin to guess, and everywhere they looked they found evidence of careful design. Earth wasn't a random planet that happened to develop life. It was built. Constructed as a sanctuary and a laboratory by beings so advanced they might as well be gods. The question was no longer whether the Watchers existed. The question was what they wanted humanity to become, and whether humans were ready to accept their inheritance. Inside the Vixtar ship, the walls seemed to move and shift like water. Deho sat across from Velka's in a room that adjusted its shape to make him comfortable. Despite the alien hospitality, his heart pounded hard in his chest. The Watchers, Velka's began, his crystalline form glowing softly. That is what we call them. We do not know their true name. Perhaps they have no name. They were old when my civilization was young, and we are the oldest species in this galaxy. Deho leaned forward. What are they? Where are they? They are everywhere on your planet, Velka's replied. In your deepest oceans, beneath your mountains, in your forests, even in the spaces between spaces that your science has not yet learned to measure. The historian waved one crystalline appendage. A holographic display appeared in the air between them. It showed Earth from space, but with layers of data overlaid on the image. Strange patterns pulsed beneath the oceans. Massive structures appeared underground, visible only in certain wavelengths of light. These are just the structures we can detect, Velkas explained. We believe there are many more that exist in dimensions we cannot observe. But we've explored Earth for thousands of years, Deho protested. We've mapped the ocean floor. We've dug deep mines. How have we never seen these things? Because they do not wish to be seen, Velkas said simply. The Watchers possess technology so advanced it appears as natural phenomena to less developed species. A storm that saves a city from a meteor strike. A disease that mysteriously stops spreading. Your history is filled with moments that humans call miracles or luck. We believe they were interventions. The hologram changed, showing a timeline stretching back millions of years. Red marks appeared at various points. These marks represent the 47 civilizations that tried to claim Earth. Velkas continued. Some came to colonize, others came to study. A few came to conquer. None survived more than 3 days. What happened to them? Deho asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. They simply ceased to exist, Velkas said. The first expedition we have records of came 400 million years ago. They were the Kuri, a powerful empire that had conquered 24 star systems. They sent a fleet of 30 warships to Earth. The fleet arrived. We detected their landing. Then nothing. Not a distress call. Not a piece of debris. It was as if they had never existed at all. Velkas changed the hologram again. It now showed genetic sequences. Double helix patterns that Deho recognized as DNA. This is where things become truly remarkable, the historian said. 20,000 years ago, after millions of years of observation from a safe distance, we managed to acquire samples of human genetic material. What we found was impossible. What do you mean? Deho asked. Human DNA contains sections that your scientists call junk DNA, sequences that appear to serve no biological function. But they are not junk. They are code. Mathematical instructions written in a language so complex that we have spent 20,000 years trying to understand even a fraction of it. Deho stared at the glowing strands of DNA floating in the hologram. Are you saying someone programmed humans? Not programmed, Velkas corrected. Designed. Carefully engineered over millions of years. The Watchers did not simply allow humans to evolve naturally. They guided every step. They built specific traits into your species. What traits? Deho felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. Velkas began listing them. Curiosity that overcomes instinctive fear. Adaptability beyond any naturally evolved species we have encountered. Emotional complexity that allows you to understand and empathize with vastly different forms of consciousness. Pattern recognition abilities that approach computational omniscience in your most gifted individuals. The historian paused, then added the most important point. But most significantly, you possess the capacity for unity despite differences. This trait is exceptionally rare in the universe. Why would they create us like this? Deho asked. What do they want from humanity? That is the question we have debated for millennia, Velkas admitted. Some of my people believe the Watchers are preparing humans for some purpose. Others think you are an experiment. A few believe something more troubling, which is that the Watchers are creating successors. Velkas said quietly. They are old, Ambassador. Older than our galaxy, we suspect. Perhaps they are tired, perhaps they are dying, and perhaps humans are meant to replace them. Before Deho could respond, alarms suddenly blared throughout the Vixtar ship. Velkas's form flickered with what appeared to be alarm. Something has found us, the historian said. Something tracked your ship across light years of space. Is it hostile? Deho stood up quickly, unknown. But it is watching us right now. I can feel its sensors scanning this vessel. Velkas moved toward the ship's controls. You must leave immediately, Ambassador. If they consider our conversation a threat, we could both disappear like those 47 civilizations. Deho ran back to his shuttle. As he started the engines, he looked back at the Vixtar ship. Velkas stood in the doorway, his crystalline body glowing brighter than before. The historian's final words appeared in Deho's mind. Tell your people what you have learned. Prepare them, and hope that the Watchers approve of you knowing the truth. If they do not, well, Earth has ways of making problems disappear. The shuttle lifted off. As Deho flew away from the moon, his sensors detected something impossible. Space itself was bending around the Vixtar ship as if reality was folding inward. Then, for just a moment, he saw something else on his sensors. A shape, massive, ancient, present and yet not present at the same time. Then it was gone. The moon appeared completely normal again. But when Deho tried to contact Velkas, there was no response. The Vixtar ship remained on the surface, but all its systems appeared dead. Deho set course back to the Galactic Council station. His hands shook on the controls. Everything he had believed about humanity's place in the universe had been wrong. Humans were not random products of evolution. They were designed, built for a purpose by being so ancient and powerful that the oldest civilization in the galaxy feared them. When he docked at the station, Minji and Jiwan were waiting anxiously. They took one look at his face and knew something terrible had happened. We need to go home, Deho said quietly. We need to go back to Earth and find out what else is hiding on our planet. The Council won't like that, Jiwan warned. They want us here for diplomatic integration. I don't care what the Council wants, Deho replied. If Velkas was right, if these Watchers exist and they designed humanity, then every human being has a right to know the truth about what we are and why we were made. Minji nodded slowly. And if the Watchers don't want us to know? Deho thought about those 47 vanished civilizations. He thought about the massive shape his sensors had briefly detected. He thought about Velkas, who might already be gone. Then we're about to find out exactly how much our creators care about their creation, he said. The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber slid open with a sound that echoed through the metal halls. Deho Kim stepped inside, his formal Earth diplomatic uniform feeling tight around his neck. Behind him walked Dr. Minji Park and Captain Jiwan Lee. They had traveled 3 months across space to reach this moment. The chamber was enormous. Thousands of alien beings filled the seats that rose up in circles around a central platform. Some creatures had scales, others had fur, and some looked like floating clouds of light. Daeho had studied about them all, but seeing them in person made his hand shake slightly. "Ambassador Kim from Earth, please take your position." A voice boomed through the room. The translator device in Daeho's ear turned the alien words into Korean instantly. Daeho walked to the center platform. The lights above him felt hot. He could feel 10,000 alien eyes watching him. This was supposed to be a celebration. Humanity had finally achieved faster-than-light travel. They had passed all the tests. Today, Earth would officially join the Galactic Council. But something felt wrong. Minji leaned close to Daeho and whispered, "Where are the Vixtar? Their seats are empty." Daeho looked up at the highest seats in the chamber. The Vixtar were the oldest known civilization in the galaxy. They had existed for 847 million years. Their presence at this ceremony was supposed to be guaranteed, but their section sat completely empty. "Welcome, people of Earth," the council speaker began. He was a tall being with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like water. "Today marks a historic moment. Humanity joins our great union of civilizations." Other council members clapped and made various sounds of approval. But Daeho noticed many aliens looking nervously at the empty Vixtar seats. Some whispered to each other. After the ceremony ended, Daeho found the council speaker in a side hallway. "Excuse me, Speaker, I must ask about the Vixtar absence. Were they called away on urgent business?" The speaker's body rippled with what Daeho's briefing materials said was discomfort. The Vixtar sent a message. They refuse to attend any gathering that includes representatives from your world. "But why?" Minji asked, stepping forward. "We passed all the entry requirements. We haven't broken any laws." The speaker looked around. Nervously, as if checking whether anyone else could hear. "They would not say. They only sent one line. The Watchers remain. That was all." "The Watchers? What does that mean?" Ji-won asked, her hand instinctively moving toward where her weapon would normally be. "I do not know," the speaker said. "The Vixtar are very old. Sometimes they worry about things that seem like ancient superstitions to younger species. Please do not let this concern you. You are welcome here." But it did concern them. After the speaker left, the 3 humans stood in the hallway, confused and worried. "This doesn't make sense," Minji said. "The Vixtar have met thousands of new species. Why would they avoid only us?" "I need to access the council archives," Daeho decided. "There must be records about Earth in their databases." The next day, Minji worked in the council's historical archives while Daeho attended boring diplomatic meetings. The archives contained information about millions of planets and billions of years of history. Minji searched for anything about Earth. Most records were normal. Earth was a young planet with basic life. Early scans showed it had potential for intelligent life to evolve. Everything seemed ordinary until Minji found a very old file. The file was marked with a symbol she had never seen before. When she opened it, her hands started shaking. Earth was listed with a special classification. The symbol meant Quarantine Zone, Observer Class Threat. "Observer Class Threat?" Minji whispered to herself. "What does that mean?" She searched through billions of files in the database. No other planet in the entire galaxy had this classification. Only Earth. The file contained warnings going back millions of years. 47 different alien civilizations had tried to visit Earth before humans evolved. All 47 expeditions had vanished completely. No survivors, no wreckage, no final messages. They simply stopped existing. Minji ran back to find Daeho. She found him in a meeting with representatives from several younger alien civilizations. She pulled him aside and showed him what she had found on her datapad. Daeho's face went pale as he read. 47 civilizations? All disappeared? "Every single one," Minji confirmed. "The last attempt was 2 million years ago. After that, the Galactic Council declared Earth completely off limits. No observation, no contact, no exceptions." "But then how did we develop faster-than-light travel if no one was watching us?" Ji-won asked, joining their conversation. "That's the strange part," Minji said. The ban on observation was lifted exactly 100 years ago, right around the time humans started seriously developing advanced technology. Someone on the council changed the rules. Who? Deho asked. The order came from the Vixtar themselves, Minji said quietly. That night, Deho couldn't sleep in his quarters on the station. His mind raced with questions. Why did 47 civilizations disappear near Earth? What were these Watchers? The Vixtar mentioned. And why did the oldest civilization in the galaxy fear his home planet? His communication device beeped. An incoming message. The sender was anonymous, but the message was clear. Ambassador Kim, if you want answers about your world, meet me at coordinates 445-223-778. Come alone. Come quietly. The Vixtar Historical Society wishes to speak with you, but officially, this meeting never happens. Deho stared at the message for a long time. This could be a trap, or it could be the only chance to learn the truth. He made his decision. He forwarded the message to Minji and Jiwon with a simple note. If I don't return in 24 hours, tell Earth Command everything we've learned. Then he boarded a small shuttle and entered the coordinates. The location was a small moon in neutral space, far from any major civilization. As his shuttle approached, he saw another ship already waiting on the surface. It was built from materials that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, a Vixtar ship. Deho landed his shuttle and walked across the rocky surface of the moon. A door opened in the side of the Vixtar ship. Inside stood a being that looked like it was made of crystal and light. It had no face that Deho could recognize, but when it spoke, the words appeared directly in his mind. Thank you for coming, Ambassador Kim. My name is Velkus. I am a historian of the Vixtar people. For 200,000 of your years, I have studied your planet. What I am about to tell you will change everything you think you know about Earth and humanity's place in the universe. Deho took a deep breath. I'm listening. Earth is not your planet, Velkus said simply. It belongs to them, to the Watchers, and humans are not the dominant species on your world. You never have been.